On this week's episode, are we spirited away with Apple TV Plus? Disneyland's on a strange world, and more Black Friday deals are here. All this and more as we once again delve into the pop culture cosmos.
Welcome to the pop culture cosmos.
And we're back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. This is Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, Game Source, and of course, the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great shows. And if you can, please give us that 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe, follow, or do whatever it is that you can to support us right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, Game Source, the Lakers Fast Break, the Happy Hoarder, popculturecosmos.com, of course, everything that we do at Humanican Media, of course, the great things that are going on with the Super BS Gamescast, and of course, everything that we do at Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, including a number of hours of tabletop RPG action waiting for you to see in the archives. Plus, we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every day right there at Pop Culture Cosmos. And if you could support all of that, it is sincerely appreciated. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without my good friend. He is our own turkey man of Pop Culture Cosmos. You got to go ahead and catch what he's doing today at the Happy Hoarder. And in fact, he's going to tell you where he's going to be as the Happy Hoarder coming up here in a sec. Plus also as well, the Super BS Gamescast, Humanican Media, where people are still coming around the world to going ahead and sharing everything that he's doing today at Humanican Media on Facebook. Plus also as well, of course, popculturecosmos.com. It is my good friend. It is Josh Peterson. What's up, man?
What is up? All right, so two things. I'll get to the
hold on. Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble. Happy Thanksgiving.
Well, pretty soon, yes, because I won't see you next week because you're going to be a very busy guy next week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Yeah, okay, so let me get to the Happy Hoarder thing in a second. But, I'm perusing Box Office Mojo, and it is strikingly sad to me that the re-release of Jurassic Park did significantly worse than the re-release of Avatar.
Why should this surprise you, my friend? But even Avatar, that re-release disappointed. I think Disney was hoping for some bigger numbers in anticipation of Avatar 2, The Way of Water. Had a recent conversation this week, which I will air in an upcoming episode as it gets closer to Avatar 2, about the cultural footprint of Avatar. And over the years, these re-releases for Avatar were making a good amount. Actually, it surpassed Avengers Endgame because it did the re-releases. And then all of a sudden, this latest re-release just not has any real bite to it. But yeah, it did even better than what Jurassic Park did.
But then this is how I feel about this, though, is the fact that like James Cameron is such like a butthole towards other filmmakers that he like keeps on doing this. Like, let's re-release Avatar over and over again. Oh, my movie's the top grossing film of all time. Let me re-release it 6 times a year. And then he has so many critical things to say about every other movie studio except him. The guy is so like, I love his movies, but man, the guy's like, he's cocky. Like I wouldn't want to work with him, Yeah.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you a bit, for feeling that way. And, we will see exactly if Avatar will continue after Avatar 3, because I know those two movies, the second and the third Avatars, are already filmed. He said the Avatar universe will continue only if it is supported by the fans. So we'll see what happens with Avatar 2 and Avatar 3 as they come up. So, I think internationally it'll still earn a lot of dollars. I'm just not sure yet that, how big it will, still play here in the States, but we'll see. But got a great show on tap for everybody out there. Josh and I are going to be talking about Spirited, with 2 great comedians coming together for a Christmas special. We'll talk about how you might want to go ahead and catch Spirited on Apple TV Plus. Plus, also as well, we'll tell you about the box office in regards to Black Panther in its second weekend. It had the traditional superhero drop, but we'll also say about the good things that has come out from the rise of the box office with Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Also, as well, we'll talk about, speaking of box office, this coming week's latest release from Disney, and that is Strange World. Does it have a chance? With everything that they've done right with Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, have they put the same kind of attention on Strange World? We'll talk about that coming up here in a bit. Plus, also as well, Henry Cavill had some comments. I know Josh wanted to go ahead and touch on that in regards to his return as Superman, so we'll talk about that. Plus, also as well, we're going to be talking about PlayStation 5 versus the Xbox Series S and X in its second year. They've just had their second birthdays, both of them this month, so we'll talk about where this part of the console war is after 2 years. That's coming up in a bit. And also in relation to what John Orlando just talked about with MJF and AEW on a most recent state of pro wrestling for November 2022. We talk about the latest victory, World Championship victory, his first MJF, and where the future for AEW is. That's coming up on the show as well. But first, my friend, it is Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. It did take the, I want to say, the traditional superhero drop, because actually 63% from last weekend, that's not a bad drop for superheroes. It's usually, if it's in the high 60s and into the 70s, then you got to get yourself a little bit worried. But holding at 63% drop from last weekend, $67 million, easily taking over the box office once again over The Menu, which is probably going to be an under-the-radar hit for Searchlight, but that's a pretty good one. I don't know if you've heard that movie yet with The Menu, where Ray finds he's cooking dinner for all these people on this elaborate island, where it becomes a little bit more different and a little bit more horrific than what I think a lot of people going into the restaurant we're thinking of. But want to hear your thoughts on Black Panther Wakanda Forever in its second weekend. Not a bad hold, 63%. It's something that we traditionally see from superhero movies, even a little bit more perhaps, but liking what I'm seeing so far as the traditional hold for Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to go watch it yet. I want to see it. I just, time is don't have the time to get to the movies like I used to. But
I hear you, my friend.
It's definitely something I want to watch for sure. But it's I from what I understand, it's like holding out. In terms of like coming to Disney Plus, is going to take longer to come.
Well, those
Disney
big
Plus.
movies, yeah. Just you'll see that from that movie, Avatar. Those movies will not come to Disney Plus anytime soon. I'd say March maybe would probably be for Black Panther, and then you probably say what, June, maybe May for Avatar 2.
Right. So that in that case, it's more motivating for me to get to the theaters, because I still want to see Black Adam too, but I think Wakanda Forever will probably be more of a priority for me as opposed to Black Adam.
I don't think you're going to be seeing on these major hits anymore the 45-day turnarounds onto Disney Plus. I think that's ill-advised for them as far as making revenue. I think Disney Plus now can survive and still thrive in many ways. I mean, what's on there this week? Andor,
right, and Santa Claus, right? They just dropped that new Tim Allen series.
Yep, and you've got the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special coming up around the corner. And then you have the most talked about Chris Hemsworth's Limitless series, that docu-series directed by Darren Aronofsky. That has been talked about because of the news that he found out in one of the episodes about a blood test, about the genetic, traits that both his mom and dad have, as far as giving him possibly a higher chance of getting Alzheimer's. And he announced that last week, I think Thursday or Friday, that he was stepping away for a period of time from the acting profession because of that prognosis, because he wants to work on his mental health and to see what he can do to, long-term best fit for his life. And I truly wish him the best of luck on that.
Yeah. I thought about it. So I had weird feelings about that at first. Like, everyone has something in their genes, whether like in my family, it's cholesterol, heart disease problems and things like
For
that.
me,
But
it's cancer.
can't, yeah, for you, it's cancer. Like, and then, but I realized that like, that's different than like Alzheimer's, like
Yeah.
it's one thing to like have a disease that you could probably change, but like Alzheimer's is something you can't really change. Like and who knows, maybe 10 years from now there'll be all these things out that'll basically render that less damaging. But yeah, it's got to be hard to wonder if like you're going to grow up and not grow up, but like years down the line you're going to start to forget all these things, and especially you're involving your family and loved ones.
Absolutely. So we're wishing him and his family all the best. He said his grandfather has Alzheimer's, and it's there some days, and there sometimes he's not, and that's pretty striking to go ahead and get those results. And that's going to be again on the Limitless docu series that's now available on Disney Plus. But getting back to Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, just want to mention that again with its hold. Yeah, you're probably not going to see it on Disney Plus for quite some time. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, if you're interested in it, go ahead and check it out. But really something I guess to look forward to for the holiday season. Even if you're not on the Avatar train, there's still Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then, like I said, I definitely want to go watch it. I actually been noticing too that Doctor Strange is slowly crawling up towards being a $1 billion movie. It's sitting at about 955 million right now.
I don't know. That's still a tough. This far into its release window, and the fact that it when we saw with the fact it's on Disney Plus and all that already, that's a tough ask. It might still do it because of international sales.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer on the U.S. box office chart, but you never know. You never know, my friend.
Yeah.
Jurassic World.
That's what I was gonna say. Jurassic World didn't cross that mark till it was on digital and Blu-ray. So I mean,
Last month it actually did. It's actually
yeah,
at 1 billion and $1 million. It barely sneaks on by.
barely got it, but it still got there.
Yes.
Doctor Strange, like, it's not as bad as Thor. Like, Thor Love and Thunder was definitely not a great movie.
But that still has made over $800 million.
It has, yes, but like Doctor Strange was just slightly better, so it's surprising that it was able to, it's doing what it's doing.
It was very front loaded. It
Mhm.
actually did. It actually has, I believe, the biggest release so far this year, even ahead of Black Panther, just ahead of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. But it just didn't hold because, like you said, the feelings over that movie, plus also as well, what we saw from Thor: Love and Thunder. I think there is a little bit of superhero fatigue. I think there is a little bit of Marvel fatigue. So I don't know what Marvel and Disney plan to do about it. Obviously, they're still continuing to produce a lot of content.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. You're so reliant on it. And that's the thing I've talked about with Disney Plus over the past couple of years, 3 years, is that you were so reliant on Star Wars and Marvel regurgitating more and more and more stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have enough other things that are interesting consistently on that platform to keep things going. And that's a problem. So now you're totally reliant on these two pillars to get you by, just to keep your viewers interested in the content that you have.
Well, let me ask you a question. So we talk a lot about streaming stuff, but we don't really mention like physical releases anymore because everything's going to digital platforms. But looking at like Marvel, what makes Marvel comics so great to collectors is the fact that they have like different variant covers and special editions when those comic books come out. So do you think that I know that in the past, physical releases were a big contributor to how much money things made. You look at movies like Hellboy and even like John Carter, like both movies not so great in box office numbers, but after they came out on video, they slowly, and this is the same thing happened with a lot of movies from the 80s and 90s. It wasn't until they were physically released that they started to actually make a lot of money. So do you foresee like a day when Disney stops putting out physical releases for Marvel and Star Wars properties, or do you think that we're going to see like maybe less physical releases by Disney, but more focused on like maybe collector covers of these movies coming out.
Well, there's a whole myriad of things that they do when they release physical things out there. You know, you talked about the comic book end of it with Marvel. That's something that they probably have to keep in some sort of tradition because it's Marvel Comics, and there's still so much of a factor in the comic book industry. I know comic books, the prices have gone up, the costs have gone up, the number of collectors have not gone up with it in correlation as much, I don't think, because there was that boom with the Marvel Universe as the MCU grew, the number of comic book interests that grew, but you didn't see that hold. Like right now, I don't see the number of people interested in comic books as they once were, say, 5-7 years ago.
Yeah, well, it's crazy to think too that like you have investors are the ones that are making this stuff cost so much. Like you can have like millions of people who just collect them, collect them for fun or for their mental emotional value, whatever it might be. But then you have 2 or 3 investors come in and like make the prices of something skyrocket. Like video games, for example, it's the value or prices of video games, especially on eBay and the secondhand sellers, those websites, they've skyrocketed because one person could come in and make the price of a Super Mario game over $1 million. So it's just, I think that between them and people trying to market off of like current trends, whether it's Walking Dead or Marvel, Star Wars, whatever it might be, that is kind of to blame for the inflation we've seen on a lot of these collector items.
True, but also it's made a business out of it. Like for you with the Happy Hoarder, I mean, with action figures and the Pokemon and video games that you intend to sell and resell and trade, it's those rising values have made a business of collecting pop culture a thing in and of itself.
Well, for sure. Yeah.
You're listening to the Pop Culture Cosmos. Don't touch that dial. Wait, do people still use dials?
For the latest news and information, analysis and opinions on the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA, check out the Lakers Fast Break podcast today on wherever you get your podcasts.
The market shows that this is going to continue to climb over the next 7 years. So it's not showing any signs of slowing down. And the more that these things are valued, and I'm sure we're going to talk about what's going on with the Green Ranger later, but like the more things are valued and the more like our heroes slowly leave this world, the more the prices of that stuff goes up because everyone's trying to get ahead of the trends.
Well, I will say that I do regret every single day my time spent managing game stores and not just, buying everything there at the prices that they did. A lot of these games which were clearance, and I clearly remember putting them on clearance or that didn't sell, now being worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars as far as video games. It's just some of these PS2 games and 64 games, these came across my way, and it's just so sad that I now see them now on all these YouTube channels as being worth $500, $700, $1,000 and the like. So
it's so funny too. Like remember when KB Toys was having their like liquidation sales?
Yes.
And you're able to snag like two for $10 or 3 for $10, whether it's like Power Rangers or Star Wars or a popular property was Kinner's Mummies Alive toys. Like much like He-Man, Kinner made the toys and then made the show based off the toy line. And those figures you could buy them for like $6-7 back in the day, but now you go to eBay, they're selling for $150 a piece. It's absolutely insane.
Well, it's just so funny because, one of the things I like to watch are those video game resellers and traders that on YouTube and whatnot, because I just remarks back to the day again when I was running game stores. And so funny because, the things that you see that were on the clearance bin that that you sold in the 90s and 2000s, because I also work for an electronics retailer that sold video games. I know a lot of these games were clearance. $5, $10, $15, $20 are now worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars, which is just absolutely crazy. The thing is, I know for a fact that I could have gotten back when I was running game stores. That, for instance, on the N64, Nintendo 64,
Mm-hmm.
the most valuable N64 cartridge is Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut, which is a Blockbuster exclusive. And the thing is, those things were just like, clearanced out. I'm sure at
Yep.
Blockbuster stores for like $5 to somebody at
Yeah.
some point in time. So yeah, it's so invigorating as far as in one way or another, as far as the collectible world. But
How would you have known though? Like it's you go to as a kid for me, like I remember going into Sears and they have like their remember they had their like video game corner is like in the
yeah,
middle of like the men's department or whatever, and you could
I remember,
get
yes.
games out of glass cases. I remember they're selling them for like you get a Sega Saturn game for like $40, and but now it's just who would have known, right? Everyone's telling you, oh, games are a waste of time. The market's gonna collapse because there's so many of them, even though there's only like 3 consoles out. And now look at us, we have there's these big old console wars. There's new indie there. We used to have a time when there would be like 3 games coming out a month, and now there's like hundreds of games coming out every week. And who would have thought, right, that the market would get to the point that it has?
Who would have thought, indeed. But what are your thoughts out there getting back to the box office? Are you going to go ahead and check out, if you haven't checked out already, Black Panther Wakanda Forever? Did pretty good, only sliding 63%, which is actually right in the middle of the road as far as superhero drops in their second week is concerned. So it's holding pretty good, and I'm sure it will hold even better over the course of the winter. Please let us know your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, my friend, there's still much more to talk about on today's program. Wanted to go ahead and mention real quick, Spirited on Apple TV Plus, which is, I guess, Apple TV Plus's way of sending you greetings for the holiday season with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds in a sort of like Christmas Carol, I guess, in a loose, configurative way as far as trying to go ahead and pay tribute to that. But is it part musical, part comedy, part just good feeling there? It's just something I think that we really need this time of year. Your thoughts on Spirited on Apple TV Plus?
Okay, so I've actually been reading up on this movie quite a bit, and it doesn't. I know people that are excited to watch it, but it has not been getting very good critical acclaim. Like I'm hearing that it's not good. And I look at this like I am at the age where I don't find Will Ferrell funny anymore, but I do kind of find, Ryan Reynolds funny.
Well, you will in Deadpool 3. I think that's rest assured.
Yeah, right. But I mean, just
him and Hugh Jackman going at it again.
Yeah, anything he's in though, like I've found funny because it's not. It hasn't been overdone, I guess. Like Will Ferrell was everywhere in the 2000s, and I just I got over him. So
I don't know about Ryan. When you turn Ryan Reynolds, his act when he tries to do it other places, it doesn't always work. With the Adam Project, I think, and other ventures, I've not found it as good, I think, as other people have. So yeah. I think for me, it has to be Deadpool for his shtick, and when he goes outside of it somewhere else to do his shtick, it just doesn't. Especially if it's a PG-13 movie, does not. Yeah, it just doesn't work as well for me.
Right. So, I mean, all that to say, like, I don't really care about this movie that much, I'm finding. Like, at first, I was like, oh, I love A Christmas Carol. I'm an English teacher. Like, Christmas Carol is one of my favorite books to teach. And I'm at that point where I'm like, oh, this, seems like it's going to make me hate A Christmas Carol. So, do I really want to take the time to sit here and watch this?
Well, we'll find out if people are going to be watching this as the results come back, hopefully in about a few weeks or so on the Nielsen's. But let us know your thoughts. If you're interested in being Spirited on Apple TV Plus, please let us know your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, before we hit the break, a couple more topics. We can go ahead into Disney's Strange World. Speaking of the box office, that's the latest movie to come out this week. It's going to come out just before the Thanksgiving holiday season. I know a lot of people that are upset about Disney's lack of promotion for this movie. In fact, I've already seen an article already that said that Disney is sending this movie out to die. The only thing I would say in contrast to that is that, was it last year? Yeah, I think Disney put out a movie, an animated movie, just on the Thanksgiving holiday season, and at 2021, I believe, in Encanto. So your thoughts on this, my friend? They struck it rich with Encanto coming out just before the Thanksgiving holiday season. Can lightning strike twice with Strange World, Disney's latest animated adventure heading off into a strange planet of the unknown?
So here are my thoughts on that. Encanto was advertised. You could go into stores and you found Encanto merchandise, whether it's like T-shirts in the kids sections or toys in the toy aisle. Like there was something Encanto in most department stores.
Plus the songs.
Yeah.
That's generated so much enthusiasm among kids.
But with Strange World, like it has not gotten any. There's nothing out for it. There's no promotion. There's no toys or merchandise. There's really like I had seen a single preview for this movie, and I saw a poster for it when I was at Disneyland last month.
I saw the first YouTube ad on it yesterday.
Yep. So if you and I, who we float around YouTube quite a bit, have not seen any advertising for this, what are the odds that just like a kid knows anything about this?
Yeah, I agree.
The same thing happened to John Carter. I know we talked about this already, but like the same thing happened, right? Nobody really knew what that movie was. There's a single Super Bowl spot, and that's really all we got to see of it. It was a bad movie, but
I kind of disagree with you. I kind of like the movie. I've seen it more than once. I know it's your favorite sore spot for you, but I'm not going to say it's a bad movie. I think it was actually a fun movie. I think it's a very cool popcorn flick. I kind of enjoy it. I do.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll be honest. If I had not read the books, I probably would have loved the movie. But as someone who has read the books, like it was like,
maybe that's why. Maybe that's why I like it. So because I haven't read the books, but
yeah.
You think they'll go back to it?
I think the Edgar Rice Burroughs estate actually like took the rights back to it, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that pop up by like Lionsgate or someone in the future. But I would love to. It's like we don't have a lot of great science fiction ground that has not been trodden on already, so I would love to see it, again. But I mean, as far as like Strange World, that's a cool science fiction concept, but it's just not. I don't see it hitting the way people want it to.
There's a lot of science fiction, especially animated on Disney, that has not hit. What was it, Titan AE, or there's a couple of bus. Treasure Island, of course.
Treasure Planet.
Oh, Treasure Planet. I'm sorry, Treasure Planet. Titan AE. That was. I don't think that. I think that was Don Bloom. I think that was Bloom.
Yeah, I think that was a Warner Brothers movie.
Yeah, yes. That did. But that had all the promise and didn't hit. Yeah, animation on sci-fi for Disney just doesn't seem to connect, and it looks like Strange World is going to be the same exact thing. But what are your thoughts on Strange World? Are you going to check it out this weekend at the box office? We'll find out if you did at the latest results. But please let us know your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. But before we hit the break, my friend, Henry Cavill had some pointed comments. Obviously he's coming off the glow of being the guy that's returning to Superman after the glow of Black Adam, and him in that post-credit scene, and everybody getting up and roar over it and excited over it about the possibility of Henry Cavill coming back as Superman and what they could do with it, with the Man of Steel 2 being rumored to be in development now and all that. But your thoughts on some comments Henry Cavill said before we hit to the break?
No, okay. So Henry Cavill had said he's looking forward to talking with James Gunn and Peter Safran. Was that the guy's name?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, he said he's looking forward to having conversations with them about Man of Steel's future in the DCU. But there's a bunch of stuff released on the internet yesterday, and granted, the internet always like takes things and runs with them without really clarifying things. But it had stated that he does not have any contract signed yet, and honestly, it doesn't surprise me because this is everything's been like hearsay up to this moment. We got to see him in the end credit of Black Adam, or I haven't seen it, but other people got to. And everyone's talking about him coming back as Superman, but yeah, nothing's been officially announced yet. So I mean, it's possible that they have not given him a contract due to the fact that they don't want to confirm Man of Steel 2's coming out until they have like a better plan in place. But everyone's like freaking out because they think that he's not going to be able to come back. But I don't think that would be the case if he had quit The Witcher. Like there's obviously there's been some sort of guarantee made to him that he will be back.
I believe he will be. I think it's something that we're going to be seeing inevitably on the screen at some point. You don't put them in that end credit scene and not doing anything with it. I don't think you take the time or give the go ahead to do it unless you have something planned.
Yeah.
Is there a future for Henry Cavill in the DC? That's something that I think I want to hear back from every one of you out there. Please let us know if you're excited for Henry Cavill's return as Superman, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Coming up after the break, we've got PlayStation 5 versus Xbox, the latest go-round in the console war 2 years in. Also talking about MJF winning the AEW title and what that'll do for as far as the future of pro wrestling for AEW. A loss, very recent loss in pop culture that Josh will go ahead and touch on. Also as well, talking about some Black Friday deals. Where's the Black Friday deals in part 2 of our Black Friday coverage? We're going to let you know coming up after the break. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos.
Action Figure Adventure is back with Season 2, and we're going further than ever before, checking out more toy stores than ever before, and seeing more incredible, iconic, and noteworthy pieces than you could possibly imagine. Once again, Jay grapples with how to build the ultimate action figure auction to support critically and terminally ill kids in need. Along the way, we'll chat about Holy Grail figures, perfect action figures, and showcase some incredible toy collections. Action Figure Adventure Season 2. 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Jinx TV Canada.
And we're back with the Pop Culture Cosmos. It's Josh Peterson along with me, Gerald Glassford, coming right back at you here. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Please go ahead, if you get a chance, check out the Happy Hoarder on Facebook. Josh is now posting updates regularly right there for you. So please go ahead and get the latest updates on good pop culture stuff, collectibles, items that you would be interested in if you're interested in pop culture. He's got it all right there for you at the Happy Hoarder on Facebook. So he gives you an update not only when he's going to appear live in the flesh as far as being able to buy him from him directly, but also as well how you can go ahead and buy some of that good stuff, those goodies he keeps on showing off at the Happy Hoarder on Facebook. So go ahead and check it out today. Give him a like, give him a follow, and go ahead and be a part of the Happy Hoarder. But Josh, before we head on out, lots to talk about still. PlayStation 5 versus Xbox Series S and X. This month marks the 2-year anniversary for each. Your thoughts on where this stands? I know that they've gone in a little bit different directions as far as priorities are concerned. Xbox is playing the long game with its Xbox Games Pass, which is creating a sensational value for customers, and I highly recommend it. I think it is the preferred way to go for everybody that out there that's on a budget that wants to go ahead and continue their gaming habits. PlayStation 5, it's still doing the traditional things that it's doing. It's tried to go ahead and conform a little bit with its revamp of its online streaming services and its plans, but it's still confusing, I think, to the average customer, because I think PlayStation Plus is, lost 2 million users over the past few months, so it's not really helped that much yet. But it is still the largest selling of, of both between the Xbox Series and the PlayStation 5. It still sells more, still outsells them, and then of course with the release of God of War Ragnarok, it still has a few, although both have done a substandard job of providing first-party quality games to the platform. But PlayStation 5 of the two has done a better job of putting first-party games without delaying them too much. Your thoughts on the battle 2 years in between the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series S and X?
It's hard to say because they've both kind of just become available in stores. But I'm also, I look at this, like you go online and you look at like OfferUp, eBay, places like that, and there are scalpers selling like a ton of PS5s, right? There's like, they have walls of them and they're selling them. You used to go online, you'd find them for like $700 to $1,200. Now they're barely able to make $100 profit on them.
And actually, this Black Friday, a lot of retailers will have PlayStation 5s in stock.
Exactly. So it makes me wonder, is like this uptick in sales, is it due to people who actually want to purchase and own and play the PlayStation? Or is it because scalpers are like, oh yeah, I can get 10 of these things, my bot can go pick it up, and then I can sell it for $100 a piece, and then I'll probably sit on them for 6 months before I'm able to push any of them out.
Well, I think it's still, I think a lot of more regular people, I think this is the time where you and I talked about the availability, and I said I would not buy a PlayStation 5 until it became more available.
Right.
I think that time is starting to be now. I think that the bots, the deals where, because you said, in the past on this show that you had to buy them at an early stage and you bought them at a, price over what it's normally sold at in order to get it. But for me, now it's the time to start thinking about seriously. In fact, on the Xbox size, those specials that are coming out, with the Xbox Series S at such a great value at $299 already, it's actually going down to $249.
Yeah,
yep,
yeah.
They're going $249. In fact,
Yep.
I got one yesterday, the Xbox Series S.
Dang,
and in fact,
man.
yeah, well, if you listen to our Friday show, the PC Multiverse, that was one of the things we mentioned as far as the consoles and the different prices and packages. I got one. I said, now's the time. I'll go ahead and get me a Series S, and I'll get it at Target, which gives you not only $250, but also it gives you an extra $50 gift card. So be on the lookout for that. So
welcome to the club.
Yes, got it here. It's going to be a great thing for me. Also looking, as far as maybe some emulation things with it, because I hear good things about that. But I want to go ahead and talk about, as far as 2 years in, there's been some issues with both. I guess the availability of the PlayStation 5 has been the big thing, plus the fact that earlier this year in certain areas of the world, they did raise the price of the PlayStation 5, which is one of the first times. Yeah, $50, which has been somewhat concerning. The Xbox Series S and X, the availability of the S especially has been out there, ready to get for anybody that wants it. The thing with them is the fact that even though Xbox Games Pass has been such a great value and so popular as far as people latching onto it, the fact that you can now play it off your modern televisions, although I'm waiting for the day it can go on my 2021 TV. The 2022 TVs, Samsungs, they can go ahead and play it. There's actually several outlets as far as computers, PCs, Steam Decks that you can play Xbox Games Pass on. The thing is, though, first-party games on the Xbox have been extremely porous. It's been okay at best on PlayStation 5 as far as the output, but on Xbox, their main reason why they have not surpassed PlayStation 5 in sales is the fact, I think, first and foremost, those first-party sales. It started with the delay of Halo Infinite and the fact that, unfortunately, even though it came out to good reviews, they've not been able to support it very well. I think that's been very disappointing overall. And the fact is, you've not been able to go ahead with all the announced first-party games, release them on time, because they're all getting delayed.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something that Phil Spencer had discussed the other day, saying that hey, yeah, this lack of first-party games, the delays have kind of been to our detriment. He's still pushing Games Pass pretty hard, but from what I understand, Xbox doesn't actually make a negative profit on all their every console they sell.
About $50 to $150.
Right. So they're, and like you said, they're trying to play the long game. And I know they just canceled the original, what was it, Project Scorpio or whatever that was supposed to be a all digital thing. Yeah. I mean, I love what Xbox has going on in the future. I think they're playing that hey, let's lose money now to hopefully profit later. Whereas PlayStation is more, we don't want to do anything that's not going to turn a profit. So I see both sides of it. I guess I think that as far as who's winning this race, we won't know until 3 or 4 years down the line when all this stuff they finally starts to turn a profit for them. I'm playing God of War Ragnarok and I love it. PlayStation. I've gotten a lot of I've played a lot of PlayStation this year. Whether it's from Valkyrie Elysium, Star Ocean, games that are also available on Xbox. I've been playing on PlayStation. PS5 has become my RPG machine. Whereas Xbox is more like my racers and shooters game, but there's not a lot of racers and shooters coming out. So I've been mainly focusing on PS5 stuff. So, they're getting a lot of money from me, but I like to have options, but as far as the regular consumer goes, I play games that regular people don't. So if the Call of Duties and all that, the multi-console releases, again, I don't think we're going to know who's coming out ahead in this race until, a couple 2 to 3 years down the line.
Well, we'll see what happens, but so far, there's been good and bad with both the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S and X. I think that both, because of the fact that, they got released at a time when the world was in a little bit of upheaval, I think that was both to their detriment. I think that had they come out in 2019, like I vaguely remembered that they didn't, I think that it would have been a little bit better for them as far as being able to produce consoles.
For sure.
The market would have been a little bit better, but unfortunately, circumstances had happened, and they're finally starting to catch up now. The Xbox Series S, again, if you're on a budget, I think that's probably the best thing you should be looking at because of what it offers for what the price is, and the fact that, again, it's going $50 less at all major retailers this weekend, plus the fact that Target, you can get an extra bonus $50 gift certificate on top of it. So I think right now it seems to me there's some good value with Xbox. But the thing is, they've got to start catching up. And this time next year, the thing has to change. It's a great value, but if Starfield doesn't come out yet, if Redfall doesn't come out yet, those games don't start coming out. The first party Xbox games don't start coming out one after another. They don't start coming out by this time next year. Then I'm going to start really going on Xbox. I've been kind of easy on them because the fact that I was pretty hard on them on release, the fact they didn't release Halo Infinite on time. And then Halo Infinite came out to good reviews, but they never really followed up with enough DLC to support it. And they've actually lost their entire fan base because of it. And a lot of egg on the face at everybody there at Microsoft and Xbox for that. But I'm hoping that they'll be able to go ahead and start producing games first party that are going to get people interested. I know this time next year we're supposed to be getting into Starfield, so I'm hoping that's going to be the case this time next year. So we can say definitively that Xbox is a entity that you need to go ahead and respect 100% and be able to realize that it's got a great chance at being the number one platform in video games.
Yeah, and the clear difference between the two right now that I can tell, not monetarily, but like Xbox is focused on hardware, PlayStation's focused on gaming content. So that's where the line is right now.
And of course, while we speak about both, after 2 years, here's Nintendo just under the radar. Selling 130 million units so far for the Nintendo Switch. And yeah, it's one of the greatest selling consoles of all time. And they're still going to be selling quite a few with Mario Kart 8 bundled with it for Black Friday. So looking forward to seeing more great things. Of course, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet just got released. I know a lot of people are talking about that. So what are your thoughts 2 years in on this renewed console race between the Xbox Series S and X, PlayStation 5, and we cannot forget the Nintendo Switch? Please let us know your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. If you're in the Las Vegas and Henderson areas and are looking to buy, sell, or trade the best in classic or current video games and pop culture collectibles, there's no better place to go than Retro City Games. From Xbox to PlayStation, Nintendo to Atari, the great crew at Retro City Games provides the best place to go for all your gaming options. Stop by their 2 awesome locations in Henderson and also the Las Vegas Strip, or follow Retro City Games on Facebook and Instagram for all the latest deals and new items. Without a doubt, there's no better place to go for your gaming needs than your friends at Retro City Games. Well, my friend, before we head on out, I know there's still some more things we need to talk about on today's show, but of course, Black Friday is here. It's around the corner. It's just a few days away. Have you been searching the Black Friday ads like I have for some good deals? I know we mentioned the consoles on Friday, and we stuck to just the console deals as far as what we were looking at. PlayStation 5 has got its bundles with God of War Ragnarok that's going to be available, made more available to consumers out there. Hopefully they won't get all bought up by the bots. You've got Xbox Series S now being reduced to $249. I mentioned Target is probably the best preferred way to go because it has that extra added $50 gift card. Nintendo Switch, I mentioned Mario Kart 8 with the bundle. Are there any other deals out there? We talked about also as well. Melinda said she's going to cave in and get that 65-inch TCL from Walmart for $228, which is the lowest price of any 65-inch television to date. Any ideas on what you've been targeting out there for Black Friday?
Yeah and no. I mean, a lot of the Black Friday stuff I've seen so far is just like early Black Friday deals. So I keep waiting to see like when the legitimate Black Friday ad comes out.
They're up.
Are they out? Can you? Okay, we'll have to check.
Black Friday, BlackFriday.com has got them out. So you got right there, BlackFriday.com. Give them a big shout out. Walmart's the Black Friday ad is up there. Best Buy, the Black Friday ad is up there. Target, the Black Friday ad is up there. Kohl's, if you're into more of apparel, you got Macy's Black Friday that's there. JCPenney. Although I was watching something last night on the news where more and more retailers are requiring some sort of payback if you return it, like some sort of fee that they're putting in there, like JCPenney and other retailers out there. So please, if you're buying over the internet, go ahead and make sure you see as far as the rules and regulations as far as returning products is concerned. So I wanted to go ahead and mention that. But Amazon.com, they're already running sales. Of course, they could be remiss if they didn't run sales, especially on the stuff that they own. So if you're interested in Amazon Fires or Amazon Rings or Echoes, might be a good time to look. The cellular companies, if you're interested in getting a new phone, this is a great time to go ahead and get a new phone because you got your T-Mobiles and your AT&Ts are all running big deals right now. But anything that you're looking at Black Friday, is that it's starting to appeal to you, my friend, because the sound systems, if you need a new sound bar with a subwoofer, you're seeing a lot of deals right around $100, $129 for Samsungs, or if you want TCL, you're seeing them actually even below $100 for a sound system to go right in front of your television there to provide some surround sounds for you. You seeing anything out there that's catching your eye?
I'm mainly looking at like collectibles this Friday.
Of course.
I know.
How did I figure?
Yeah, I've actually purchased a few though. Like Best Buy's had some good early deals. Target's had some good early deals. Like I've bought a lot, like these DC multiverse figures are usually $20-$25. They had them for like $11, and there's not really any movies I'm hunting for these days. Like I don't really buy a lot of movies anymore, and like games. Have you noticed the game deals are not what they once were?
Yes.
Like you used to be able to get something that came out at 60, maybe for like $20-$25, but now they're not really going down that far. So it's not really.
I actually just picked up one of the best deals, which was for $9.99 each. The God of War that came out in 2018.
Yeah.
Just picked that up for $10, and also as well, I picked up for $10 Jedi Fallen Order. So those
both great choices.
Yes, those were both $9.99. But you're seeing even like GTA 5 still being sold at $10 to $15. Most of the games that came out this year are still right around $35. Mm-hmm. Elden Ring, they're still not bringing that down substantially. That's still at $35 as far as the sale price is concerned. The EA stuff is right around $30 to $35 as far as what was released this year. Even something like WWE 2K22, which is sales-wise gets front-loaded, so you see a big discount by the time Christmas comes in. So right around 25 to 20, maybe even 20 in a couple places, but like you said, there's not big discounts on a lot of more recent games like we've seen in the past.
Yeah. So I don't really know what I'm eyeing right now. I'm good on TVs. I'm good on computer stuff. Like it just be collectibles for me right now. And I've already purchased quite a few of them. So maybe, I'm definitely going to hop on after dinner on Thursday and surf around and see what I see. But for the most part, there's not really a lot this year that I'm really dying to play.
I know GameStop. Well, I know GameStop is trying to do what they can to stay relevant. So they are offering deals on Pops. So if you want 30% off Pops on anything $14.99 up, or if you want some of their $12.99 ones, they're now down to $9.99 for Black Friday. So might want to take a look at that. Might want to take a look at that. Or if you're into pre-owned with GameStop, buy 2 get 1 free. I mean, there's a lot of good deals out there. Those are on Xbox and PS4 games. PC accessories, a lot of them are half off or substantially off. So you need to update your podcasting or recording or streaming products. You need to go ahead and do that, or just PC gaming. Go ahead and check that out, because now is a good time to get it, because you can find them as much as 50 to 60% off in various retailers, from GameStop to Walmart to Best Buy. You're seeing a lot of the these accessories off. And of course, laptops are something that's always seems to be traditionally at a discount. So if you're in need of a new laptop, you can find several $200 to $300 off, but make sure you look at the specs. Make sure you look at the specs and what you need to go ahead and take care of, because if it's under $500, you're not looking at a very powerful computer unless you need it to just do some basic things.
16 gigs is where you want to be right now. Like, I had 8 gigs for Adobe Premiere at one time. It just kept freezing and freezing and freezing. So 16 gigs is where you want to be. That's the safety zone.
Mm-hmm. That's the safety zone indeed. But there's still some great deals that you can find, because we got to remember, a lot of these retailers over the course of this year, because of everything that got backed up and there was a supply issue this time last year, a lot of these retailers have caught up with supplies. So there is discounts available. You just got to go ahead and check out what you're looking at. I think a great place to start is blackfriday.com. You'll be seeing, as far as apparel, a ton of apparel can be found on sale. I know there's, again, with all these retailers, they're all looking to get rid of a lot of their inventory this week. So go ahead and check it out. If you're into hardware here in the United States, Lowe's, Home Depot, they're all running big sales. Again, apparel with Macy's, JCPenney, Walmart, they're all running big apparel sales, because, again, they got to get rid of that inventory. So if you have some great deals in mind that you want us to go ahead and showcase on our Facebook page, please let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, my friend, love Black Friday. I don't know if I'm actually, this is going to be the first time in a while that I really don't have anything I need to go ahead and get.
Yeah.
So I don't see myself usually getting that adrenaline rush to go out and rush out to buy, which is kind of weird for me, because I usually live for Black Friday.
Right.
I already got my Black Friday deal sitting right behind me here with the Xbox Series S. But anything that you want to talk about as far as Black Friday deals before we go ahead and touch on some final things before we head on out?
No, I mean, not that I can think of. It's, if you're into collectibles, like, there's already some great sales out there, and gaming, not so great sales, but there's still some decent stuff out there. Like, for example, Sonic Frontiers you can get for $40. That came out at a $60 price point, so there's always that. And there's something out there for everybody. It's just a want versus a need thing. So consider that choice wisely.
And absolutely. And if you are buying over the internet, you're buying online, please look at what's going on with the return policy on that. So before you buy, just to make sure that you're understanding that if you don't like what you're buying, that you may have to pay a price or a few dollars for just the privilege of returning it if you don't like it. So just be aware of that. But again, let us know your thoughts on any Black Friday deals you want us to cover. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. My friend, another great episode is almost in the books. Any thoughts on the Green Power Ranger before we head on out?
Yeah, dude, it's heartbreaking, man. Like, yeah. I got on the web this morning, found out that Jason David Frank had passed away. According to inside sources, he took his own life. He's like my childhood hero, like, he was who I wanted to be every Halloween, whether it's the Green Ranger, the White Ranger. Like, he's somebody, and I'm sure there's other celebrities that have done this for other people, but like, he could fight anything. He could beat anybody who came up against him. He was the Green Ranger, man. He's invincible. Yes. And it gets me thinking, like, if you know somebody that's suffering, like, you need to make sure you're there for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, if you're having those issues, please, there's so many resources for you to reach out. There are people out there that want to help you. Please go ahead and seek them out before anything drastic in your life happens like that.
you look at people you think are invincible, and then something like this happens to him. It's just the one villain he could not beat were his own demons.
What are your thoughts out there on the life of one of the best Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Jason David Frank, as he passed away at 49? But yeah, if you have any thoughts, please let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, my friend, been a great episode. Before we head on out, something that John Orlando and I talked about on our most recent The State of Pro Wrestling. We like the direction All Elite Wrestling went in their most recent pay-per-view on Saturday night, with MJF winning the AEW World title from Jon Moxley this past weekend. A young, aspiring wrestler who has captivated the audience such as he. I just think it was long overdue.
As much as you want something to happen, they're going to do whatever's going to cause the most spectacle. So you can never really predict what is coming down the pipeline and something like that. But
this was an individual in MJF who could do the most nefarious things, but is the most beloved character right now in AEW, and is part of the reason why they're still averaging close to 1 million viewers each and every Wednesday. They're still doing okay on Friday nights on the various Warner Brother platforms, TNT and TBS. They took an individual with a lot of promise and a lot of hope that has a lot of future behind him, that we see almost like in the first year or two of The Rock, after he broke out of his persona that everybody couldn't stand, that he became a bad guy, but he also became The Rock. He also grew that persona. And you saw him in the first year or two of that persona, The Rock, become one of the biggest stars in the industry. And I think history is repeating a lot of itself here with MJF.
It's funny too, like how perspective on a character can change, and you can tell when they cultivate certain, especially in wrestling, you tell when they cultivate certain people as opposed to just like not cultivating. Back in the day, you remember like Too Cool and Rikishi, right? Like everyone was like, oh man, like these two, it's just a show. But then like as the show went on, like they could tell people like, oh yeah, they like this guy that does the worm, and they like the stink face or whatever. And slowly those characters started to grow and become more and more popular. You'd start to find action figures and all that. So yeah, I mean, it's safe to say that like MJF, that is, it's good that they are cultivating his character and helping him grow. But then in most cases, when you have these wrestlers that reach the top, it's only a matter of time until someone else comes and that wrestler ends up falling.
Well, if there's any sensibility right now at AEW, that won't come for a long time, because right now they have a individual that is extremely hot and extremely popular with the fans. And if they were to go in a different direction, it would probably be not the best move now. But let's see how long they, like you said, they can sustain that individual's popularity. They just got to go ahead and keep on doing the right things for him. So Maxwell Jacob Freeman is the new AEW World Champion, as per our hopes of both John Orlando and myself. What are your thoughts out there on MJF becoming the AEW World Champion this past weekend? Let us know your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, my friend, it's been a great episode, but any last thoughts before we head on out?
No, man. I mean, we covered quite a bit. I feel like this was a pretty solid episode we got through today. We'll hear more about Black Friday stuff and all the things coming up, and I'll have an update on Happy Hoarder after next week. So it'll be good, man. A lot of cool things coming down the pipeline.
Where are you actually again going to be making an appearance?
I will be in the Waco Convention Center in Chisholm Hall. So if you want to come by, it's during the big Christmas Expo in Waco. So I will be there selling my wares, and if you want to come pick up some cool Christmas presents, be sure to stop by. We'll have like Pokemon cards, action figures, sports cards, all that good stuff. And I even have my hands on a couple of Hasbro Zord Ascension Megazords. So if you want those are pretty hot items right now. So if you want to come get your hands on one, stop by the old booth.
There you go. So go ahead and check out for more info today, the Happy Hoarder on Facebook. And from Josh Peterson, Melinda Barkhouse-Ross, and myself, we want to wish you a happy and safe Thanksgiving, because you will not hear us until Black Friday for the PC Multiverse. So until then, again, we wish you a happy and safe Thanksgiving. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great